headset. Not set. That's the mic. We are live.
And we are live.
Thank
yes. Thanks, everyone. As you can see, Bart has some technical issues. That's why we're a bit late.
No. Okay, I had some jokes on this, but maybe I'm going to be a bit looked at as no.
All right, but I think we're ready. I think we have 2 people already on the live stream.
Yes, let's play the intro.
Do it.
You have taste in a way that's meaningful to software people.
Hello, I'm Bill Gates.
I would recommend TypeScript. Yeah, it writes a lot of code for me, and usually it's slightly wrong.
I'm reminded, incidentally, of Rust here.
Rust.
An iPhone is made by a different company, and so
You will not
Rust.
learn Rust while skydiving.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about large neural networks. It's really an honor to be here.
Rust.
Data topics.
Welcome to the data.
Welcome to the Data Topics podcast.
Hello, and welcome to DataTopics Unplugged, your casual corner of the web where we discuss what's new in data every week. From Tofu to Llamas, anything goes. And we're also on live streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn, X, and what have you. Check us out
Twitch.
there. Twitch, that's true. Do we have any updates on the Twitch page, or you just
No, only they were streaming there.
only we're streaming there? But it's okay. We got to start somewhere, and that's where we are. Feel free to leave a comment, question, anything. We'll try to address it. Today is the 23rd of April of 2024. My name is Murillo. I'll be hosting you today, joined by the one and only Bart.
Hi.
And we have a very special guest. Yeah.
Of course, my favorite song.
I hope people can listen, can hear the song too.
I think they can. To Vitale's favorite song, right?
Only for skit
Yes.
jams.
So yeah, Vitale, the one and only, our Italian wonder boy.
Hello.
Vitale, tech lead, AI at DataRoots.
Yes, MLflow Ambassador.
MLflow, I'm one of the 8 in the world MLflow ambassadors. I want to say 8, I'm not 100% sure. One of the few. Recently became
I
an
think so.
MLflow ambassador. Happy you're back on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, are you the only MLflow ambassador in Belgium?
Yes.
Look at that. So if you go there, MLflow Ambassador Program, and you're gonna see the ambassadors here, and you can skirt. Well, who's that?
Wow.
That's,
Are
That
you?
was a cool picture, eh?
That's a cool picture. Are you also the only Italian ambassador?
Yes.
The only in Belgium and the only Italian.
wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Look at that, and the
But-
cutest for sure.
Definitely. Like,
I
if you
think
look at
there
this,
is,
like, he's definitely the cutest, right?
Definitely by far.
Yeah.
Not even a competition, man.
I think there is someone else, not Italian, but is working in Italy.
I thought you
So
were going
they
to say
put-
more cute.
They're really cute, so it could be, yes. But it's actually a new program from MLflow. MLflow is now, let's say, not now, but the Linux Foundation is putting an extra effort in promoting the adoption of this open source technology. And they are starting new programs, and MLflow Ambassadors is one of them. This was the first batch of ambassadors. They will soon open again, let's say, applications. So if people are interested, then you can always look on the website. The main goal is to promote the technology by knowledge sharing with your community within your, let's say, working environment, but also with external people. And you can also contribute in the blog post and in social media of MLflow.
Maybe a question for people that never heard of MLflow. What is MLflow?
Yes. So MLflow is an open source framework. They are call it now a platform that helps you to manage your machine learning lifecycle. So when you train machine learning models, not, let's say, in a trivial environment, not trivial, but for simple use cases, for example, if you are working on real world data, or you have your first, let's say, professional engagement, you maybe want to use MLflow to track your experiments in order to check by changing your code, your parameters, or the data itself, what is making your model performing better. Also to have a centralized repository to store your models for later deployments. And also MLflow helps you to deploy your model on different targets. For example, from MLflow, you can deploy on SageMaker, Databricks, Azure ML, or even on on-premise Kubernetes clusters. So it may sound complicated, but it's quite easy to use because MLflow comes with a Python API so that you can basically interact with it by code, and also an open source server that you can run. Basically, you can host yourself, you can run it everywhere you want, and it's full, let's say, is feature rich, so you can do everything you want with it.
Yeah, I think maybe the way I also think of MLflow is that it's open source, but it's also the MLOps tool, like the standard today in the industry. Would you say that's a fair statement?
I think it is. This because MLflow is creating a big community around and is investing a lot in changing the product in order to meet the demand of the people.
Yeah.
For example, as you can see in the web page that you were sharing before, now the focus is not only in classic, let's say, machine learning, standard machine learning and deep learning, but they are also shipping a lot of new features related to generative AI. For example, let's say you would like to prompt engineer a solution instead of randomly try, test, change, and retest again your prompts. You can create a formal experiment in MLflow in order to perform a more robust evaluation. So since these applications are becoming more and more frequent in industrial environments, in business environments, so companies are shipping generative AI models in production, prompt engineered from a base model, for example, the GPT models from OpenAI. Maybe you want something robust to track how you are performing your experiments and to test it, because we saw already in the past how many issues these models have. For example, chatbots suggesting your competitor instead of your own companies, or creating, let's say, random discount codes for users. So if you include in this application a robust test suite, you can better test your prompts and your overall product.
Cool. Very cool. A lot of cool stuff. I didn't know about the Gen AI thing, actually, but it's very new. And I think also MLflow has been there before MLOps was a thing even. I remember hearing about MLflow, the experiment tracking, before people were using the term MLOps. So, and also there are other competitors, just to like the DVC, I think is another popular name. There's also Guild.ai. There's like you can pick your own MLOps, experiment tracking, all these things. Very cool.
Yeah, they are valid alternatives, of course. DVC, especially, is also a well-known tool. I think DVC focuses a lot on data versioning and pipeline versioning. For example, to have an easy way to track, for example, if your data is changing or if your code to train your model is changing, and then adapt your flow to reproduce your experiment only when if there is a substantial change in your data. While MLflow addresses challenges as experiment tracking, the model registry itself. It doesn't rely on, for example, Git like DVC does, and also model deployment. So with an integrated server.
Really cool. Happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah. How are you doing? I think we skipped a bit of chit chat, but yesterday Vitale and I were playing futsal together, and there was a moment that I was like, I looked into Vitale's eyes, I saw his soul through his eyes. I was like, I was very intimate, but I was like, mentally, I was like, Vitale, come, I'll give you the ball, come. And actually, I swear he heard me, because he was like, and then he actually went, and I passed him the ball, and the rest is history. Back of the net.
Wow.
Yeah, we won.
Congrats.
Yeah, can we get an applause?
Wow.
Just a regular, Monday. Getting that W,
We are first in the league at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes.
That's
In
the
futsal league.
yeah, but that's not DataFoods. That's the team of Jonas.
And maybe something, the elephant in the room here, or maybe the duck in the room here. For the people that are listening and that can't see, all the others have wondered by now what is happening. But Murilo is here in a suit,
yeah,
with a very special tie. Maybe you can explain a bit about the occasion, Murilo.
well, I think it's a bit disappointing. It's not really an occasion. I think last time you said we're talking about suits, and I said I'll come with a suit next time. And I feel like this is kind of a suit. It's still kind of casual, right? It's not something for a formal occasion. But I have Dutch classes later, so I thought it would be weird if I just come super formal and I'll have to explain it to people. So I thought this was a nice compromise. And
No, it's fancy.
yeah, I think so.
It looks good on you,
And also, oh, thanks. Jeez.
especially the tie.
Yeah, the tie. So what is about the tie? Maybe you want to paint a picture with words here.
The tie has a lot of ducks on it, right?
A lot.
Very similar, but not in the pixel art thing that is on top of me.
Yes.
Um,
And
very
more
nice.
surprisingly, probably, is that I had this at home. So I was like thinking, like, okay, yeah, suit, and like, okay, you need a tie. So, I have the perfect tie, and it was this one.
It was all meant to be, Murilo.
It was meant to be. Indeed.
So you will go through your Dutch lessons with the tie?
No, not
No?
a tie.
Okay.
I think that would be next level.
It would be too much.
And just see if anyone says anything.
Yeah, but actually, that could be good advertisement, right? Like, oh yeah, because we do this podcast,
Yeah.
you can check us out on YouTube, and then
Do
maybe
it.
we can get it's an order.
Yeah.
Or maybe I think, Murilo, to test how serious you are, I think you should go to a client meeting with this tie.
If Bart gives me the green light, maybe I will.
I think it's a nice conversational piece.
You think so? But it would be super awkward too, if we go in a meeting and no one asks any question, like they're just
Like-
like, oh yeah, how was your
Like
weekend?"
everybody will just think like, this is just a weird guy. Let's just
But no,
ignore
but
this.
That's the goal. It doesn't matter what you are wearing, but people will believe what you're saying. So
You think? I don't think this
yeah,
adds
because
to
you are
credibility.
so good that it doesn't matter what you dress, how you dress.
Not sure about that. We'll have to circle back on that one. But how was your weekend, Bart? Maybe I don't want you to feel excluded. Anything special?
My weekend was very good. I went ski mountaineering.
This
which,
weekend.
last weekend, yeah.
Oh wow.
A long weekend. I went to Austria. We had
By car.
by car.
Wow.
We climbed a few nice peaks. Weather was very bad though, but snow was good
Oh really? There's still a lot of snow.
because the weather was very bad.
Yeah, I see. I see. Okay, interesting. Wow. So you just went to Austria and back on a weekend, whatever.
Long weekend.
Long weekend. Okay. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And all right, what do we have this week? Maybe we can start with this timely news. Also, you mentioned Gen AI on your MLflow intro, Vitale. I think it's hard not to talk about Gen AI these days.
What is not Gen AI these days, right?
Yeah, it's a bit it's hard to keep track. But what is this? Introducing Llama 3, the most capable, openly available LLM to date. This is from Facebook. And what is this about? Maybe I'll put the name. Or Bart or Vitale, I guess. I'll put Bart.
So this was introduced. I don't know. Actually, I think it was introduced when I was out on holidays, more or less, right?
Yeah,
When
it
was
was,
it Wednesdays, Thursdays?
5 days ago, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't been able to test it a lot. So Llama 3 is the successor to Llama 2, which is Meta's or / Facebook's LLM, which is was, and I see it now in the title, now that it springs in my eyes, is that it was originally touted as the most capable open source LLM, but apparently Llama 3 they're positioning as the most capable openly available LLM, which I think is more correct if you read the small details.
Yeah, the fine print.
I have seen it a lot passing by on socials, Reddit, Twitter, my Mastodon account, and what I hear from the community is that it is actually very, very, very performant.
Performant in quality
Performant
of results.
as in the quality of results, and that for specific use cases, it is as close as or outperforms GPT-4. That's very impressive. I've tested it myself a little bit on Grok. So that's maybe the easiest way to test it. You go to grok.com, Grok. You log in, and then you can basically select which Llama 3 version you want to use. They have an yeah, that's the one.
Right, just saying.
Different 70B and an 8B version available, each with a different token context. The default is 8,000 tokens. It's very easy to test it, but you need to make an account on it. I tested it a little bit. Just by the little tests I did, it's indeed very comparable to GPT-4.
Maybe you said they changed the naming to open source to openly available.
Well, it's now that I see it on the title. The title here of the article that you have on the screen is Introducing Meta Llama 3, the most capable openly available LLM to date. And I know that they touted it before as an open source model.
But then,
which gave them a lot of flack.
Yeah, but we still can take the weights.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still use it.
So anyone can use the weights. We can download it. We can put it. So why is it not open source? It's because there's some restrictions on how
there are restrictions. They have their own license, I think, on this, which is not a quote unquote open source license, and there are some limitations on how you can use it for what amount of users, these type of things. It's also not. Well, I don't know, actually, Llama 3, I haven't downloaded it. The previous one, you had to fill in a form, like, I want to download this, give some details, which is probably still the case.
It will be the same, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a very open model, or openly available, both the source code as well as the weights, not the data.
I think what Meta tries to do is to protect the model. Let's say if you are a large organization and you maybe want to embed their model in a sort of platform or widely available product, they protect against this kind of use cases. For example, let's say Apple want to use it to empower Siri in order to be better, for example, than before. But if you are normal size business, research institute, or an individual, you can basically download the model and do what you want with the weights. Also fine-tune it, retrain it, use it to produce new data as a sort of training set from each generation to create more specific models.
Yeah, I think in the Llama 2 is the one that there was the... Was Llama 2 the drama that someone leaked the weights without the form?
That's 1 or 2. Indeed, yeah.
Maybe I thought it was treasure here.
And I think because it's openly available, but like both the weights, the source code, that you can fine tune it, you can retrain it, you can easily deploy it yourself. Is that it is probably one of the most widely self-managed models that is actually being, if you deploy it yourself, like if you do something on-prem or in your own private environment, it's probably the most widely used by now.
Is also, I think, the most powerful, indeed, up to date. And it's also crazy how fast is the, let's say, open movement. I don't want to say indeed open source, open movements of LLMs going. Because, let's say, we saw OpenAI with GPT 4 years ago, I think, when GPT got released, was the first big step in advance. We thought like, oh, this technology is so unique, it's so, let's say, hard to replicate. You need hundreds of GPUs. You need a lot of money to train something similar, to craft a big enough training set for that. But then after a couple of years, more and more companies are replicating and going closer to GPT performances, even to GPT-4, and is available for everyone. I think it's very cool. Of course, it's not easy to run. You still need some compute power. But the fact that is making, let's say, they are making it available to a larger audience, it will allow for example, optimizations, quantizations. So maybe more and more people will be able to use something similar in a protected environment.
Yeah.
So I think it's very cool.
True. And just to wrap this part as well, that according to The Verge, Well, according to The Verge, Meta says that Llama 3 beats most other models, including Gemini. So indeed.
Oh. And the subtitle there says actually indeed that Meta themselves, they don't mention anything about performance versus GPT-4, which is true. But you see there's a lot of chatter about how it compares from a more qualitative point of view, testing it out to GPT-4, which apparently is impressive.
I do think that GPT-4 is the standard still, right? So I think that's the...
I'd argue that Claude 3 is very close, but
is also good,
But I still feel like if there's a new model that comes out today, they're gonna compare it to GPT-4, right?
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. Yeah.
Something I really like about the Llama model and meta research in general. This is a weird sentence. I think if I would have said like, I really like Meta or Facebook 3-4 years ago, everyone would have been like, oh, you're weird, because it was the bad company, right, online. But now they are releasing all this technology, and they are also releasing all the white papers summarizing a bit the research and what they implemented in the model itself. And it's quite interesting because then even larger companies can somehow adopt strategies, methodologies, or particular, let's say, tricks that makes these LLMs a bit more performant. I still remember last year for a Microsoft event, Andrei Karpathy, when he was still at OpenAI, he was on the Microsoft stage talking a lot about Llama, the Llama architecture, how the Llama model has been trained, instead of, for example, GPT. So the fact that they are releasing, the weights is very cool, also the code around, but also the research paper. And OpenAI is not doing this anymore. Like, we don't know yet the technical details of GPT-4, while we know everything about Llama.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I agree with everything that you're saying, but at the same time, I wonder, like, what is their strategy on this? Because I mean, Zuckerberg has this. He has stated this before. I'm very much paraphrasing here, but like this is about. He's opening this to the public to democratize powerful AI, and for also to understand like what the impact can be, to understand what you can and should do around safety on these things. But at the end of the day, I mean, Meta is in the business of making money, yeah. Like every business is, and maybe in the evening, Zuckerberg thinks like maybe there's an ethical point to this as well. But from 9 to 5, they're simply making money. Yeah? So what is the strategy behind this? And I think they're relevant in this space only because they did this. Like if they did anything close, Meta probably would not be a talking point today.
Exactly.
Or maybe that would be, oh, but yeah, where are you getting the data? Is it from my Instagram posts? Like, there would be a complete. If it was not open, then we would have a completely different discussions on this.
Yeah, 100%. Like, otherwise they would have been the third after OpenAI, Google, Anthropic. So.
And
like putting themselves out there in the market, how they're doing it is very smart. Like they're a big player today.
But I feel like Meta was really invested. Like it was Facebook, and I feel like they were taking a shift, and they really bet on the Metaverse, right? They even changed the name of the company to Meta. They had the goggles, and I mean Apple Vision as well, like the Vision Pro, right? There was a big announcement, and I think I heard on a podcast not that long ago that people are reviewing now again the Apple Vision Pro, like who has it, people still use it, people like mix a bit, like okay, it's a bit clunky, it's a bit heavy, and no one really, I mean, at least in my circle, no one really talks about the Metaverse these days, right? So I feel like indeed if Meta wasn't releasing open source models, because the bet that they put on the Metaverse, it's really not really paying off.
Also bad timing, like they decided to switch completely to the Metaverse when Gen AI and then LLMs were exploding. So
yeah, indeed.
But cool for us.
I still think it's positive, right? Like for the
community, yeah, definitely. Like that's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with Vitale. I think they bring a lot of transparency to the community. And I still just don't truly understand like what's in it for them, the way that they're positioning.
Maybe they just want to cripple Microsoft.
That's.
Now they will integrate actually Llama 3, Llama multimodal, and also some generative models for images on their products like WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram. So you will chat with your own assistant on WhatsApp itself.
Okay.
So I
Is
think
it already there, or they're planning to
in
do it?
US they are releasing it at the
Okay.
moment, and they will soon arrive. Also in
And what
Europe.
can the assistant do for you?
It's like having ChatGPT within basically your let's say
your-
smartphone
Hmm.
in your WhatsApp chats.
Okay,
And then I
interesting.
guess they will also include some integrations for all the other services they offer.
So that
for
means that
example.
pretty soon that everybody will start sending GenAI generated images on WhatsApp.
Yeah, really likely.
It's so cringe, yeah, so cringe.
Or like
So the stickers will be
Yeah.
GenAI generated.
or it would be like the email now, you know, like, can you ask this person this in a nice way? Or you want to uninvite your uncle for
You get like
Thanksgiving?
these very
you know?
formal messages.
Yeah,
suddenly.
yeah.
And not just 5 words without any capitals, but
Yeah.
like 3 paragraphs of
Exactly.
very formal text.
Every WhatsApp message will come with, "Dear sir."
Dear sir,
You know, it's like-
dear bracket open,
Yeah.
name of the person bracket closed.
Yeah, let's see what gives that. Actually, like in Brazil as well, WhatsApp is used a lot. Like for businesses, there's a lot of stuff on a lot of features on
Yeah, I
WhatsApp.
think
that,
almost everywhere, not?
In Belgium, not a lot. Huh?
In Italy is like the most.
But
used
like
by
even
far.
like carousels for like, I don't know, you can swipe around and look at a menu or whatever. You know, you
Oh, I
can
didn't
click.
know.
Yeah, but like there's some things like that.
Oh well.
I want to say, again, maybe I know there was something that was like, wow, I never seen that before. I've seen the chatbots, like Brussels Airport, for example, has a chatbot. Like you can say,
Yeah, but that no.
that's like that I
Oh,
see.
for businesses like they
Yeah, which I think is nice. More on Gen AI as well. We talked last week, I want to say, about RAG, the retrieval augmented generation.
Yes.
RAG to riches. That's what I remember. And Tim Lears, I want to say, shared this. Open parse. I thought it was quite interesting. Just it's an open source package written in Python. But basically, last week when we're talking about RAG, we mentioned how part of the RAG application, let's say you have the vector databases, and usually if you have a big chunk of text, not a chunk of text, we have a big document with a lot of text, we chunk it, right? And then basically you fetch it. This package improves that a bit. So basically the idea is that it's more human-like chunking. So if you have, maybe I'll go on their GitHub page, share the documentation, share this tab instead. The idea is if you have a PDF, right? Usually, actually, first question is, when you have a PDF, you have to convert it to strings. How does Python do it? It probably is just going to be a OCR, but that doesn't mean that the text is actually going to work. If you have 2 columns, maybe you won't identify the 2 columns, maybe you will, right? There are things that can go wrong. And also like paragraphs, tables, all these things, right? So what this package does, it just has a smarter way of chunking text. And on the image here, if you're following the live stream, you're going to see that there's a document with overview, driver classification, development, and then a table. So 3 segments, and then they chunk it according to the segments, right?
So instead of, let's say, the dumb way to do this, to chunk a text is like to say, after 200 characters, cut it, and then that is chunk 1, then the next 200 is chunk 2.
Exactly.
But like there's no logic to it. And here,
Exactly.
like this, what you have on the screen is like more or less you know, like this is a paragraph, that is chunk 1. Next paragraph, that is chunk 2.
Exactly. So it has like the locality of it, which is how a human would also read it, right? And I think it avoids things like having, like you said, half of a chunk here and the other half of the chunk on the other paragraph.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting.
So it looks interesting. I think it was pretty cool. I haven't looked so much into it, but I would imagine that this actually improves the performance.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Because we're actually using this not for chunking, something like this, like to go from PDF to text, but for GenAI purposes. And the, let's say, quote unquote dumb way to do is to go to flat text, right?
Yeah.
What we actually do is that we have a lot of metadata. Like this text comes from this position on that page. It is this typing, so that you can see, like it's a bold font face is probably a title. So we have a lot of metadata, which is good to have a rich expression of what is in this text. but it's also a lot of tokens. And the example that you're actually now showing on the screen, like it's a bit the same. It is the same context, but it makes a lot of abstractions.
Yeah.
So you just go, this is a chunk, this is a chunk, this is a chunk, and you
Yes.
basically ease the processing for this for the LLM as well.
True.
So you have a lighter input, but maybe still the same richness of the context.
Yeah, indeed. You're doing this today, you said.
Yeah.
Is it okay to share a bit more about it, what it is, or top secret? You have to kill me if you tell me.
No, it's actually quite simple, but it's for a RAG-ish approach for a customer, so I can't share the customer. And they are processing a lot of documents, the PDF documents that they need to add to a file of a customer in a structured manner. But for that, we need to extract the text of the documents. But just the flat text is not sufficient enough to generate the correct summaries of that. And so we use a package, and I want to say it's called PDF to JSON, but it's something like that, probably not completely like that. And that gives you like a huge amount of metadata, which is, I think it's good for the richness, but probably a bit too much to actually put all of this in the prompt.
I see. And then, like you're saying, this package would the geographicalness would already be another add-on.
Yeah.
Bart, I have two questions related to this. Do you think the PDF format is a bit outdated for nowadays world where unstructured information will be processed more and more in the coming future? And we need to still rely on this technology, let's say, introduced a few years ago already. Maybe there is a better way to structure information in this kind of documents.
Introduced, how old is the PDF? I think it's, I've never known it not to exist.
Yeah, so
it's very clunky, and like the spec is super. It's you don't want to get into the nitty-gritty details of the PDF spec. Yes, it's outdated, but I think it's also still going to be around here 10 years from now. That's a bit, but I agree with you. Like it's ideally we don't use PDFs.
Yeah,
I agree.
Initial release June 15th, 1993.
Oh wow! So
well, yeah,
is 31.
It's
and
that's young, right, Bart? It's a baby. Vitale as well, actually, no? 30 years, is it old, Vitale? 30 years old?
No,
right?
not at
yeah,
all.
not at all. Not at all.
And also, the second question, Bart, is that now we have all these multimodal models that can process visual informations, including text.
Yeah.
For example, for use cases like PDF processing, understanding the information, let's say, within PDF, do you think it will be a better approach to process information with this kind of models instead of getting the raw text and then feeding an LLM?
Well, I want to say that's a good question, but I've been laughed at for saying this. But maybe just to go one step back, like PDFs, I think they're here to stay for the foreseeable future. I think it's the easiest way to send something that is, okay, I'm going to send you an email, I'm going to send you this, and like this, like a document of multiple pages, like in a clean, structured manner. I think
that
PDF
is like
is the
read-only, though. That's the thing. If
that is read-only.
Yeah, that is read-only.
And that is easily generatable by a lot of different people and a lot of different systems. Like, should you probably send this data to an API? Yes, but I mean, like that's not reality. Like, I think
even
we will
presentations,
PDF
right? Like if you have a PowerPoint presentation, I've seen people convert it to PDF to share with people as well, because it's just a cross-platform.
Exactly.
It's like the sea of
it's a standard.
But that's the thing. Like I've seen you give JavaScript-based presentations, but from the moment that someone asks you, Marilo, can I have a copy? You're gonna somehow make a PDF out of that, right?
Yeah, you're not gonna make an image either, right?
No,
yeah,
no. That is. I think the other.
You said with a bit of judgment, huh? I've seen you make JavaScript presentations. Like,
no, but I've done it myself as well, and I think it's very cool and it's very bit edgy, bit quirky, and a bit contrarian. but I think it's very cool. But I've done it myself as well. But I've always ended up with the question, yeah, but can we have a copy of the presentation? And I'm like, okay, yeah, shit. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, there's a way to. Okay, there is this package, and this package makes pictures of the web pages, and that will convert that into a PDF. I mean, like, and you do that 10 times, and then 11 times, and you think, okay, let's just use Google Slides.
Because then, is the presentation ready? I have a bug. I need to debug my presentation.
No, I hear you. I hear you. I feel like I don't use the JavaScript presentations for any presentation either. It's usually for if I'm doing a tech presentation that I'm not expecting anyone to ask me anything, but I'm gonna work alone as well because I think all these things are.
Yeah, I still use it here and there as well. But anyway. I think what was your question? Can you reiterate?
No, one was about the PDFs, and the other one is instead of taking the raw text from the, let's say, visual of the PDF. So you have the table, you have some locality, maybe you have a picture close to a table, for example. Is it more efficient maybe to directly use the multimodality features of new models and give the image itself as an input?
I think today, but now I'm just going off my experience. I think it's more efficient for. I have this small image with some text in it. I think that works pretty good. I think what doesn't work is I have here this 30-page document. I'm not gonna OCR it. I'm just gonna send images of these pages and now extract the data. I think that doesn't work very well. I think that performance is much better with the 30 pages if you do a text extraction and you inject that text into the prompt. For small things, I think the performance is there. And probably when we discuss this 6 months from now, we'll be in a different stage.
Yeah.
But.
No, I was gonna ask because you mentioned performance, right? And I think when I was showing this package, my first thought is oh yeah, if I ever had to do a RAG application or something, I have to chunk text, I'll probably use that. But I haven't even looked at performance numbers. I don't have any guarantees that actually this will improve performance, right? And I'm just wondering is it just assuming that the performance is negligible, the performance increase, would you still use this? Because I still think there is a more explainability aspect to it, which I feel like it's nicer in my brain when I think, how is this organized? I feel like that's the way it should be.
Do you mean a RAG is the way it should be?
No, the open parse thing, the way you chunk documents.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it all comes down to having good tests.
Yeah, but
to actually have a performance and that if there's a change if you
because
try these things.
But if the performance is kind of the same, I would still use it probably. I would still use this thing, even though it's more complex, right? But just because I feel in my brain, I don't know if I
don't think that's a good argument.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think either. But that's but for you then, you have this project, you try this open parse thing, the performance is about the same. You're just yeah, no, scrap it. Just keep doing what we're doing now.
If that's a very hypothetical scenario, right? If I went all the way to re-implement something in a new,
maybe
in a new technology and the performance is the same, I would probably keep it if I went all the way.
No, but if you start a new project today, you try this, but it's still in the beginning, so you try both ways, and you see it's kind of the same. Early results show it's kind of the same. Would you still make the effort to maintain something?
I think it's up to the person who's building it, because then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Maybe this is an extra dependency on a package that is not mature and didn't look at it, the stats, but
it's also
these type of things come into play then. If everything else is the same.
Yeah.
It's also true that the context length of LLMs is increasing dramatically over time.
Exactly.
Llama 3 is now 8,000 tokens against 4,000 from Llama 2. So what if you ingest the full page, for example, or multiple pages?
Well, and we're talking with what is the context length of Claude 3? It's over 100,000, huh? I'm looking it up. The Claude 3 Opus is a context window of 200,000 tokens. Expanded to 1 million for specific use cases. So there you can even say, and it's maybe I'm going to ask the question to you, Murilo. Let us assume performance is the same. Are you just going to do I'm going to have a very simple search. I'm going to inject everything in my prompt, assuming that it's not a huge knowledge base, but like 1 million tokens is a lot, right? Or I'm gonna use RAG, because then you know what is happening.
Yeah, no, I feel like in that case, well, I think then depends a bit, right? Like, because if to use these things, the infrastructure needs to be different and I don't know, more expensive.
Yeah.
I'll probably look more into that.
Yeah.
But I feel like if cost, infrastructure, maintainability, all these things are not negligible in a way, or not in the forefront of our mind, then I would just include everything. I wouldn't chunk stuff. You know? But
Okay.
I still feel like maintainability, the infrastructure, all these things would probably be relevant.
Yeah, but you get into these thought processes a bit like you were explaining, where you think, because it's RAG, because I'm gonna fetch more specific information, it's probably gonna be better, so I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Huh? That's true. But I feel like that's where, like last week as well, I also shared that I heard people saying data science is like an art more than a science. And that's kind of what I mean, you know, like you have this intuition, you have something, it's not something super concrete, but it is like a trail of thought, you know, like that you can articulate, you can, but you know, it's like you can't quite put your hand on it, but you can kind of feel it, you know what I'm saying?
So you're saying it's a black box, and so you need to have decent tests.
Well, I could say that too. That's not what I was saying, but I think that's a very.
And then you need to
common
use
place.
MLflow to,
of course.
test your
And if I have any
application.
questions, I have my person right here. So, are we okay to move on?
Yep.
Another thing that is timely, so I would like to cover today, we mentioned Llama 3, which is openly available. And so what does it mean it's open source or not? There was also some waves in the open source community, namely with Terraform and OpenTofu. And I think last week, I want to say, maybe 2 weeks ago, not that long ago, there was some drama there. And I like drama. I'm a Latino, I'm Brazilian, so I'm attracted to that. And what was the drama regarding? I don't know.
We'll keep for later.
I'm a bit scared. What was the drama regarding Terraform? So Terraform, they changed their license, right? And some people said, okay, we don't like this change of license. We want Terraform to be open source. So we're going to fork it, which means we're going to make a copy of what is there today, a snapshot of what it is until it's open source. And we're going to keep doing our own thing. And that became OpenTofu. So very paraphrasing here. OpenTofu was promised, quote unquote, to be an equivalent of Terraform. Or at least it was, right? At the moment it was forked, it was the same.
At the moment it was forked.
Yes.
I don't think they promised to be.
No, they did. Well, I don't think that were
to remain
explicit
compatibility.
No, I don't think that was. But I do think that was the mentality behind it. Basically, without jumping the gun, Terraform released new features. So OpenTofu was quick to recreate those features, I guess.
Re-implement them.
Yeah, re-implementing is a better way to phrase it, right? Which kind of gives that the feature parity kind of thing between OpenTofu and Terraform. And maybe I actually share this other link first. Terraform sued OpenTofu, claiming that they violated the license. So right now the license on Terraform, and again, correct me anyone if I'm wrong, but I think the Terraform license says that it's free to use unless you're a competitor of Terraform. So like we can use Terraform for our clients because the solutions that we're building are not competing with Terraform. Yeah. And again, there's some gray zones, like what is it to compete, right? If I make a plugin and now we have 100 users, are we competing or not? Okay. But then now, yeah, with this new license, they're claiming that OpenTofu violated the terms of service, right? So, and then there's the whole discussion here. This is a blog article from Matt Essay, I want to say, that OpenTofu may be showing as the wrong way to fork, right? Disagree with it. So the subtitle is disagree with the license, fork the project, but don't lift the code and say it was always publicly available. Compare HashiCorp's code compare HashiCorp's code and license to OpenTofu's version, right? Let's see here. There was also I think they had...
And what is the exact reason that Terraform is now suing them?
because of feature parity, basically.
Because of feature parity.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
So basically, there was a.
so they're saying we implemented this new feature on our branch, which you can no longer use, on an old version that you forked. You now also you also added this feature,
It's a new
which
feature.
is comparable.
Yeah. So it's like the source was the same, and then now Terraform has this new feature that they released in this new version.
But they
And now OpenTofu has a similar feature.
but it's only similar features, not like it's the same code or anything. Like they just
So that's when you get to the nitty gritty,
okay.
right? So first thing that I will say is that OpenTofu acknowledged that they received this. I think it's like cease and desist. I think that was the again not the. Share the screen here. OpenTofu was close this. Okay, never mind. OpenTofu was recently made aware of the letter HashiCorp's lawyers, alerting blah 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 blah. Basically, they're denying that they violated the license, and then they even in the open they did a more thorough analysis here, right? So really, OpenTofu has our response to HashiCorp's cease and desist letter. So they really went from line by line, and they started to see what is the same, what is not the same, what variable names are the same, what files are the same, and all those things, right? And then I did like the community is a bit split, right? There was someone that was mentioning like 3 levels of copying code. Like you can literally just copy code. You can re-implement with the same, like a different way, right? But like you really re-implement trying to do the exact same thing, or you can look at it and just be inspired by some features and do something similar yet related, right? So at which point are we actually violating the license?
And they're arguing that they did the latter. They were inspired by, but did
like
their
they
own
looked
implementation.
at it, but they did their own implementation. But it's very hard to say, right? When the code is available.
Would that be okay? Well, that's what the
that's what the lawyers
result of this will say, right?
Yeah. So
interesting.
There's this, and also the other today, for me, at least in my head, when I think of OpenTofu, I think of an open source version of Terraform. But there's clearly some noise already, because they are the same thing, quote unquote, right? And then there was even the discussion of what's going to be the future of OpenTofu, right? Because maybe they should stop looking at Terraform at all, and they should just try to do their own thing. They should have a vision of a different project instead of just being an open source Terraform. And also, this is if they are trying to be an open source Terraform, that's a losing battle for sure, right? Because Terraform is allowed to copy code from OpenTofu, because OpenTofu is open source. Right. So again, is it going to be two different versions of the same thing? Probably not the way to go. But curious to hear what you think.
Why? Because they claim they want to be the open source Terraform, basically. So investing time and energy to replicate something that exists, just to release it with another license, that's a really lost battle, I think.
Yeah, but I do think also like
the project should be independent, right? I want to be the best infrastructure as a code open source tool.
But then it won't be a Terraform, an open source Terraform, right? It will be a open source infrastructure as code, which will be different from Terraform. It will have different features. It will have,
If every time Terraform releases something and they copy
no, I agree. Yeah, I think that's also very fishy. Yeah, that's the whole point of Terraform, like, changing their license as well, right?
Yeah, it's a difficult. I mean,
you're gonna say that's a difficult one.
The whole thing how this came to be is that Terraform changed their license. So it didn't allow direct competitors basically anymore to use it for directly competing services. So HashiCorp has services to manage your environment, managed services that you can they have very heavily leveraged Terraform to manage your environment, and quote unquote competitors, some only partially, some to large extent, like Gruntwork, like N0, Spacelift. They joined forces and they created a fork of Terraform because they basically are competitors to Terraform's to HashiCorp's managed services. So it's already like how it came to be. It's not just we in our hearts believe that it needs to be an actual open source license.
Yeah.
No, it's like the pain point is like we can't use it anymore, and this is key to our business. We've built a business around what you built,
yeah,
and thus we need to do something, and the result is that fork.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you see in the OpenTofu. I think it's called it's a foundation, right? I mean, the big players there are to some extent competitors of Terraform. Right?
True.
And that's very questionable, like how viable is this? And I think another topic that will be important in OpenTofu's adoption going forward, whether or not it will be a success, is also that at some point you need to migrate away from Terraform to OpenTofu. And people that have complex infrastructure for which you use things like Terraform, typically to migrate away from that, it's not that easy. But there is like this small window of opportunity where if you used the version where it was forked, or very closely to it later or before, it is binary compatible, and it's like just you switch the CLI to the OpenTofu CLI, you can use it. But the longer you're waiting, the less of compatibility is, and the bigger the risk of running into risk and making it an actual big migration project, for which there are very little arguments to make if you are a large enterprise and you're already using HashiCorp, right?
But also, it's like, again, if you're not competing with Terraform, you are free to use the license. I guess the only fear is that if HashiCorp changes the license again, right? But what I mean today, what arguments do you have for not going for Terraform, even if you have Terraform and OpenTofu? Like,
as an individual developer, I think the only way one as an individual developer that doesn't care about sustainability and professional support and all these things, as an individual developer, is that there is like this very strong belief in that whatever you use need to be open source.
Yeah, but then it's more
that
like
is the only very strong argument to make.
Like personal values, like you believe in open source, you want to share. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with you. Huh?
I mean, if you are a business and you need to decide on, am I going to use OpenTofu or Terraform, then your next thing is going to be like, what is the longevity of this? What is the community behind this? Can I get a professional long-term support from this company?
Yeah.
And you're not going to say yes to. I mean, you're going to have very strong arguments not to go to Terraform.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, again, this may make things even a bit more complex in a way, because this is a one-way street, right? Like Terraform to OpenTofu, that's what this cease and desist is about. But OpenTofu to Terraform is always going to be a viable option for them, because OpenTofu is open source.
OpenTofu to Terraform is going to be a viable option? In what sense do you mean? For company
features, for example, there's a very brilliant feature that they implement on OpenTofu.
Mm-hmm.
For them to just kind of take that feature and re-implement it, or even copy paste if it's possible, if the API is still similar enough, that's fine. That's fair game, right? So then that's, in a way, if the way Terraform can position themselves is that's going to be a superset of OpenTofu.
I like that. If they extract it and still have the license for that component, they can.
Yeah, but I mean, even if OpenTofu creates a new one today because it's open source and anyone can use it, right? So Terraform will be
under the terms of the license, right?
Yeah, but OpenTofu will always be a subset of what Terraform is in terms of features.
Well, that's maybe a hot take.
Maybe a hot take. Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
I came across the sample. I couldn't not add it.
All right, but maybe as we're nearing.
I actually hope that other people hear this. But the samples should be fine, right?
These samples?
These should be fine. The only question is if we
from the laptop.
From the laptop.
Yeah. I think the samples are fine. But I'm talking about hot takes. Maybe it's time for a hot take.
Go for it.
Well, I'll pick yours actually today.
You always pick mine.
Because I have mine. I just put them for a rainy day, when I'm really busy, I don't have time, and I just snap it in there. The future of AI gadgets is just phones. What do you have to say about that, Bart? By the way, the soundbite when you envisioned it, were you envision it for like the hot take section? So just like right now.
For when someone, for example,
like the hot. So can you please, Alex? Could you mind?
Oh, hot.
Is this from? Where is this from, actually?
Well, I burned my hand the other day when I was
you recorded yourself?
frying bacon, and
You're like you're FaceTiming someone.
yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna burn myself. Let's record this.
Okay.
No, I got this out of my my sample vault. It's under my sofa at home.
It's just like you have it there on a safe. You know?
Yeah, for a rainy day, right?
Okay. Cool.
Um,
Glad you shared that one with the
No,
world.
but the future of AI gadgets is just phones. It's actually not my hot take. It's a hot take by Alison Johnson, a writer for The Verge. Vitale, what do you think? What is your opinion on the Humane's AI pin? I think it's called, right? Or the Rabbit R1. Like, do these have a future? Or are you saying like, no, my phone is the future?
I think they do.
Okay.
Only when the small LLMs or small Gen AI models will be performant enough and energy efficient enough to run locally on a wearable, instead of having the need to have a connection and perform requests to an endpoint, a remote endpoint. Why? Because then maybe you can have specific assistants, specific tools, specific gadgets that you want to carry with you, maybe in particular situations or even in your everyday life, and you need a snap response. So you ask a question, you touch a button and you ask a question, and you don't need to take your phone, take your application, unlock your phone. And the model is running locally, so it's immediate, basically the response to your question. There, yes, there can be a future. But how they are implemented now, they need to rely on external services, they need to call OpenAI, they need to process the response, and then the interaction is less human, less interactive. So
I think the use case that you're mentioning, like you can just press a button and you have a very quick response. I think you can already make the argument that there's enough compute in a phone to do that, right? And I think in this article they make the argument that what we have next to our phone, if you don't want to take your phone out, we already have earbuds, which are widely accepted, and especially with the pass-through of the AirPod Pros, for example. Samsung also has it. Like, you see people walking around with it all day, having conversations, and no one really thinks like this is weird. So it's already something accepted. So why not use that? I think that's a bit of the statement that we're
I think also there's a picture here. I thought it was funny because maybe for the people that I didn't know about the human AI pin kind of thing.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know about that. I don't have the budget for that, so I don't even look at those things.
Okay.
I mean, I know for you it's different, Bart, but just some of us gotta eat. You know what I'm saying? Anyways,
some of us read the news.
The human AI pin review. So I mean, this, from what I read here, is basically a wearable device that the idea is that you can use it like a pin. You put it on your chest, and then you follow around. It has a camera, and then you can just tap into it, and you can, I guess, talk to it and ask questions. So it's should be a sleek wearable device for AI, I guess. So it's the way. So this is one, and the Rabbit R1. It is something that we shared a while ago, I want to say, pre-Alex times, which is like a very completely different redesign device for they called it large action models. Actually, haven't heard anything about it because I remember people that ordered, they should have received it already, because I think
that's
by
a good
Easter.
question. We should research it a bit.
Yeah.
See what the first results are, if they're already shipped.
I think
it says new
orders.
order ship on June 2024.
But I think the first ones.
June.
No, but this is new orders, huh? Because I think the first ones, I remember that by Easter I should have had it if I were to order.
Okay.
And then I didn't do it. I'm too frugal for that. Again, like I said, I don't have the budget. Anyways, so two different devices. The idea is that they redesigned this for AI use. And what I thought was funny about this article here is that they are saying, well, if you take those foldable phones, you can just kind of clip it on your shirt, and you kind of have the same thing as the Dot has. So again, a lot of the stuff that they're promising with these things.
Yeah, and what your main pin has, the latest version, actually, it has like a laser-based screen. So you hold up your hand, and it projects an image on your hand.
Oh, really?
Like, there's a lot of effort if you can just like take your phone out of your pocket, right?
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm also wondering, like, with the Ray-Ban glasses from Meta, like how you had, I don't know if you can project something in the lenses of the glass or something. Because I know they're
not
cars.
anything are only you have a camera.
No,
So,
okay, but I know they're like
watch anything.
cars. Sometimes on the dashboard, you know, like I don't know. Actually, I have never been in a car like that, but I heard from people like you can have the dashboard like with the speedometer and everything in the windshield, but the driver sees it because of the way that the light hits.
Yeah.
Right, so you can see that, and you see still the background and everything. So I'm wondering if you have glasses or something instead of projecting. Seems like an easier. One last thing as well on that is this Dot new computer by Dot. I don't know if you ever like the website is very minimal actually. And they had more information about this before. I'll make this a bit bigger for the people that are in the live stream. Basically, first product is Dot, a highly personalized, intelligent guide for iOS. Dot is currently closed beta, and you can sign up in the waitlist here. So I have signed up for the waitlist. I haven't heard from them, but as I understood, it's like a operating system that would work on iPhones, or maybe it's an app or something. But it's also kind of redesigned for LLMs and for AI.
Okay.
So I'm also wondering, like, there is an in-between, right? Maybe you don't need a new gadget. Maybe you can just take the phone and reuse it. Like, instead of Siri, you have just something that is full AI.
So this would just be a functional Siri.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But it's like the Rabbit R1 kind of reminded me a bit of that, right? Because they called it, like, they made a big fuss, the large action models and all
Yeah,
these
that's true.
things.
That's true. Like,
And it's like they have APIs and they can make actions for you. They can order an Uber. They can do this. They connect.
it's what you want Siri to do for you.
Exactly.
And instead of this, if I want to speak in like a WhatsApp message into Siri, I have to like do it like 5 times, because every time like there's a typo in there, and like it's horrible.
Siri, open WhatsApp. Hey, what's up? What's up with you?
Yeah. So we have this take. What was the official take again? The future of AI gadgets is just phones. Let's take a timeline here. Coming 5 years, Vitale. Is it just phones, or will it be hardware?
So do you also comprehend different? Do you want me to? Because I think the existing form factors like earplugs, or you're saying smartwatches, we will see a lot of integrations of onboard AI models there.
But like there's no nuance, right? Like there's like just a blank. So like the future of AI gadgets is just phones.
But I'll just say 5
I
years.
think no. I think no.
5 years.
Okay, no.
5
years. Coming 5 years.
5 years, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I also think yeah.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
I
In
think
5 years, we're gonna sit together, gonna discuss this topic.
it'll be like great.
I will have my AI food.
Yeah. He will no longer speak. It's like
He'll be like-
it's like a speaker in the suit.
He'll be like thinking really hard.
Yeah.
You know? Like... Okay, there we have it. Well, if anyone, maybe we can do a little call out. I think it's the first time we do it, huh? But if anyone has any thoughts, maybe we should launch a poll or something, no?
Yeah.
But like it would be sad if only like 2 people reply.
It would be a bit. The other hot takes you're not gonna do today.
No, one per day, Bart.
One per day.
One per week.
One per week.
Because what if we run out of
Yeah,
hot
because you
takes?
put a lot there, right?
Well, 3, yeah, but
I thought it's gonna be a hot day today.
no, not that hot. I'll wait for summer for that, you know. But I think this is it. I'll leave it at that. Anyone else has any final words?
Thanks for having me here. So
Thanks for being
it
here,
was really
Vitale.
fun.
Thanks for joining us. Indeed, thanks a lot.
Thanks everybody for listening.
Thank y'all. Ciao.
You have taste in a way that's meaningful to software people.
Hello, I'm Bill Gates.
I don't know what is it.
I would recommend TypeScript. Yeah, it writes a lot of code for me, and usually it's slightly wrong.
I'm reminded incidentally of Rust here.
Thus,
Rust.
Congressman, iPhone is made by a different company, and so you will not learn Rust while skydiving.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about large neural networks. It's really an honor to be here.
Rust.
Data topics. Welcome to the Data.
Welcome to the Data Topics podcast.
That